Welcome to our analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say thanks for your continued support. If you are watching for the first time, my kindest request is that you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. Please check out for more of our videos, like them and share them. Now, the Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Nordin Haji, has grabbed headlines of late. He has claimed that while working together with Mr. George Kinoti, who is the former DCI boss, that Mr. Kinoti cajoled and coerced him to level cases against Mr. Rigathi Gachagua. Did you know that by admitting that he took orders from Mr. Kinoti, Nordin Haji has broken our law, is broken a sacred law that governs anybody who sits in the DPP office, and he is liable and culpable for prosecution. I'm saying this because under Article 157, this is the article that deals with the DPP office. It says that while discharging his or her duties, the DPP shall not take orders from any third party, and that by when discharging his duties, he will take into consideration, number one, public interest and the rule of justice. So, ladies and gentlemen, when he went public and said that Mr. Kinoti compelled him to level charges against Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, the DPP has already alluded to possibility of being arrested and prosecuted. And those are not my wishes, but the wishes of the drafters of our constitution under Article 157. And I'm taken aback by Mr. Nordin Haji because I want to believe that he is a renowned lawyer, he went to school, he is qualified. But then, having taken into consideration all these facts, why would Mr. Nordin Haji still, goes ahead to admit in public that he took orders from Mr. George Kinoti? There are a lot of suspicion around his statement because while I try to give him the benefit of doubt, the timing of his statement is not only worrying but also very suspicious. And I want to believe that Mr. Nordin Haji wants to accomplish the following political motives. Number one, he is being used by this administration to get grounds of apprehending and charging Mr. Kinoti. Because Mr. Kinoti was a thorn in the flesh of Ruto while Ruto was the deputy president. When Jose Camargo came into the country and they were apprehended at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, it is Mr. Kinoti who went ahead, did a forensic audit on the facilities that they were carrying. They were found in possession of a number of very many things, that gadgets that were to be used purportedly in the last elections. And Mr. Kinoti said that they were not even invited by the IEBC, as Mr. Chairman Chebukati had claimed. So Mr. Kinoti was not a friend to the then deputy president. And so they're looking for grounds to ensure that they also revenge what he did. And Mr. Nordin Haji, in my very considered opinion, is being used to get grounds to get that Mr. Kinoti performed his duties against the law, and so they will go for him and they might just arrest him. The other thing that they are trying to achieve, ladies and gentlemen, is that recently you saw Mr. Ruto abolished the internal special unit that was under the control of Mr. Kinoti. The unit that he said was responsible for killing innocent Kenyans and dumping them in Rivayala. And it is being said that there were some two Indians who came into the country. Later they were found murdered somewhere, and they were Ruto's friends or visitors or something, it is in the public domain that these were his friends, and they came for to undertake some duties that we do not know. And this has really vexed Mr. Ruto. This is the reason why he has decided to do away with this internal special unit, and they are trying to justify that Mr. Kinoti not only was trying to force Mr. DPP to level charges against state officers, but he was also in charge of an illegal department that was responsible for killing Kenyans. So they're trying to, again, get grounds to justify that, because I remember the Azimio One Kenya speaking through Mr. Kalonzo Musyoka, had said that Mr. Ruto was acting unilaterally, and they were wondering where he got the green light and the authority to disband a unit that was within the Kenya police. So they are trying to justify, to show Kenyans that the reason why Mr. Ruto is doing this is that Mr. Kinoti was somehow corrupt, or not fit to be in that office. They are also trying, ladies and gentlemen, to justify the allegations of state capture, and to ensure, or to try and persuade Kenyans that cases against people like Aisha Jumwa were also framed. Remember, Kenyans, there was a lot of outcry from Kenyans that people like Aisha Juma, those who are close to Mr. Ruto, have all their cases dropped, and there were under the guise that there was no proper investigation. But if you juxtapose the cases of Aisha Jumwa and that of Mr. Waluka has been given, I think, more than 60 years, if I'm not, I stand to be corrected. And the other day, Raila Amolo Odinga was complaining that this is selective justice. At one point, you drop cases of people who are closer to you, and on the other hand, you prosecute and give and take people to jail, those who are not close, because Mr. Waluke defected at the last minute and vied for Sirisia parliamentary seat under Azimio, and very many people believe that he is being punished for abandoning William Ruto. So for them to justify that people like Aisha Juma and many other state officers were never wrong, never did anything, they want to use Mr. Nordin Haji to justify that most of these cases were leveled against those who were trying to join Ruto in his bid to become the president. It is also a wider scheme to try and trivialize and discredit everything that was either initiated, perpetuated, or accomplished by the former regime. Mr. William Ruto, if you look at this regime, Mr. William Ruto, Rigathi Gachagua, and all the people who are around the president, they have been trying to show Kenyans that there is nothing good that Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta did in his previous administration. They have abandoned everything. The subsidies that were given on food prices and on fuel were abandoned, and they claimed that they cannot continue subsidizing consumption because it is not sustainable. Instead, they said that they want to subsidize production. Kazi Mtaani, that was launched by the previous regime, was abandoned, and Ruto said that it is something that is really inhuman, that graduates cannot go on doing these manual jobs, and he instead said that they will be incorporated in the, because I remember he launched some affordable houses. So he said while constructing those houses, those youths will be incorporated waendelee na mjengo. So everything that Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta did has been discredited. And so Mr. Nurdin Haji is using this platform to show Kenyans that Mr. Kenyatta and all the state officers who worked under him were either corrupt, unfit to hold office, or were trying to backbite and look for people who are close to Mr. Ruto to level charges against them. And this is why he is doing this. The timing is really very suspicious. I also want to believe that Mr. Nurdin Haji is only trying to keep his job, because we have a change of regime. He was working under the Jubilee government. Now we have the UDA. People are being kicked left, right, and center, and Ruto is looking for people whom he wants to work with. That is very normal for any administrative changes. You need to work with those people who are aligned to you. But so Mr. Nurdin Haji is only trying to keep his job. But I just want to say that while trying to keep his job, he should not try to bear false witness against his brother. If whatever he's saying is not true, then I want to sympathize with Mr. Nurdin Haji. His level of understanding is a man who is educated, and the sacred calling to that office is beyond cheap politics that he is playing. But if it's true that Mr. Kinoti compelled him to level charges against Mr. Gashagwa and other state officers, then, ladies and gentlemen, the law will take its course. I just want to reiterate that Mr. Nurdin Haji has given William Ruto an opportunity to kick him out once he's done with him. He will be used to frame charges against those former state officers. He will be used to frame Mr. Kinoti and maybe Hilary Mutambai, all those people who they worked together with. And when they are done with him, William Ruto will tell him that as a matter of outcry, because the Law Society of Kenya will be on his neck, the judiciary may be on his neck. Kenyans will be crying that he has admitted that he broke the constitution and the laws that govern that office. Because I indicated to you, you can read chapter 1, article 157, Mr. Nurdin Haji or any other DPP in that office should not take orders from a third party. He has admitted that he took orders from Mr. Kinoti. Under normal circumstances, if you don't want to break the law, you can always resign or come and shout out to Kenyans and tell them that, look, here I'm being compelled to do that which is unconstitutional. People have done it before. But he accepted to be compromised. It means he is unfit to hold that office and he should go. And is giving William Ruto a justification for him to be kicked out. And I won't be surprised after he has framed everyone and everyone has been apprehended and charged, then they will come for him. I won't be surprised if he's also shown the door, because while trying to frame others, he is also trying to frame himself, ladies and gentlemen. As always, these are my thoughts about Mr. Nurdin Haji. Do you think Mr. Nurdin is right, or do you read suspicion in whatever he's doing? Kindly share with me in the comment section what you think about Nurdin. Until we do another video, cheers.